with you. You don't even know Rena's son exists, and if he did, he'd be 27. Roman Bridger has made sure that the world, come on, the world knows he's 30. Sit!
What the f?
What's going on, horror fanatics? Welcome to I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. As you know, I'm your host and creator of the channel, Marcus, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about this assembly cut scene from the final act of Scream 3 and talking about Roman Bridger's dialogue and how his dialogue in this assembly cut scene could have changed the perception on not how we just viewed the character, but the story between him and Maureen Prescott as well. If you have not done so already, please shoot this video a like. It definitely helps out with the YouTube algorithm a ton, as well as if you happen to be a new viewer coming across this channel, please shoot that subscribe button as well as that notification icon so you get all the latest content updates to this channel. Okay everyone, so whether you're a diehard Scream fan or a casual Scream fan who watched the first 3 films of this franchise, then you know for a fact in the Scream 3, we get introduced to Roman Bridger, who is portrayed by Scott Foley, and he is the director of Stab 3 Return to Woodsboro. Now we are all familiar, especially if you're a diehard, that Stab is the movie within the movie in the Scream universe. Stab is basically what Scream is, following the life and times and the anguish of Sidney Prescott as Ghostface tries to hunt her down. However, not only in Scream 3 do we get revealed that Roman Bridger is our Ghostface killer at the end, even more importantly, he is revealed as Sidney Prescott's brother, as Sidney's mother Maureen actually conceived Roman years before when she was living in Hollywood trying to become an aspiring actress under the name of Rena Reynolds. As many of us are well aware, like I said moments ago, Maureen went to go pursue her dreams as a Hollywood actress in horror movies under the stage name Rena Reynolds. In John Milton's heyday, he was a big-time horror movie executive, but in order for her to get parts, she was taken advantage of by multiple men. That led her to conceive Roman, which is something she did not want, and she ended up abandoning him only for Roman to track her down years later and approach her, trying to have a relationship in Woodsboro. That's where he found her, that's where she was living, and Maureen shut him down then. This all led to the chain of events that we know that is Scream today. Roman started to watch Maureen, started taking video of her affairs. That included the affair with Hank Loomis, which turned out to be Sidney Prescott's boyfriend's father, and that led to everything. That led to the death of Maureen at the hands of Billy Loomis and Stu Macher, and it just led to the entire 3-part trilogy in so many ways that we got in the Scream franchise today. And we know that Roman's purpose in Scream 3 was to finally finish off Sidney in that film, being that he held her responsible for having the life that he felt he should have had. However, as many of us are well aware, a couple months ago we got this assembly cut version of Scream 3, which is basically a bunch of scenes that made it into the movie that was basically tweaked and edited, so on and so forth, especially in terms of the dialogue. And what really caught my ears when we get to the final act scene between Roman and Sidney, and Roman's going on his spew, not only is his dialogue different than what we actually got in the final cut for Scream 3, but what he says actually holds so much weight in my opinion, because not only would it change what we know as the Roman Bridger character today, it also would have changed the timeline of events that Maureen Prescott would have been in Hollywood to conceive Roman, in my opinion. So I'm going to replay the clip. I played it at the top of the video, but just in case you guys really didn't pay attention to it or you missed it, I'm going to replay the dialogue what Roman said in that assembly cut. Then I'm going to chime back in and break it down for you guys that why I believe it was smart for Wescraven to edit this and not allow this assembly cut dialogue that we got from Roman into the actual film.
No, with you. You don't even know Rena's son exists, and if he did, he'd be 27. Roman Bridger has made sure that the world, come on, the world knows he's 30. Sit!
Okay, so if you heard that correctly, you heard Roman say, no, if Rena Reynolds' son existed, he'd be 27 years old. Roman Bridger made sure the world knows he's 30 years old. Okay, so there's obviously a couple things to take away from that. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Roman Bridger admits in this scene, even though it doesn't count in Scream 3 because it's not the final cut that we got, but in this original assembly scene dialogue that we got from his character, he is actually 27 years old, meaning he wasn't born in 1970 like we thought. He was born in 1973, and later I'm going to explain why that's critical to Maureen Prescott's timeline in Hollywood. But what's even more fascinating in this piece of dialogue from Roman in this assembly cut version of Scream 3 in the final act with Sidney is after saying if Rena's child existed, he'd be 27, he goes on to say Roman Bridger made sure the world knows that he's 30 years old. Now, why that is important is because, in my opinion, that is Roman all but telling us that Roman Bridger isn't even his real name. This is a fake name. This is a fake persona that he is using to hide his true identity. And had they would have actually let that get into the actual Scream 3 version that we have on DVD, that we saw in theaters, so on and so forth, that would have been a nice homage to Maureen Prescott, being that that's what she did when she got to Hollywood. That's how Roman was able to find out who she was, because we got to remember, when Gail and Jennifer Jolie are doing some digging on Maureen Roberts / Prescott in Sunrise Studios, they would never been able to find her by her real name, only by her stage name. And what that shows is that even though there was a lot of animosity that Roman had for his mother, in so many ways he still looked up to her as well, enough to do the same thing that she did by covering his true identity with a fake name. Had they would have kept this dialogue for the final cut, this also would have been interesting in terms of shrouding Roman as a character of mystery, us not knowing what his real name is. We know his alias is Roman Bridger, but what is his real name? What is his real first and last name? And why I bring that up is because a lot of us here in the fandom have always wondered and have always clamored for, who is Roman Bridger's father? A lot of people believe it was Milton. There's some who even believe it could have been Hank Loomis, being that, you know, over the last couple of years, we have gotten some, you know, leaked scripts or stuff that was supposed to happen to where Hank Loomis was actually Milton's lawyer in Sunrise Studios, and maybe that's how him and Maureen met. Maybe they started their affair there, so on and so forth. So had they would have kept this piece of dialogue as it is in the assembly cut for the actual cut of the film, it only would have added even more mystery to the Roman Bridger character that I actually would have been on board for. Now, back to why Roman saying he's 27 in this assembly cut scene from Scream 3 is fascinating is because we are led to believe Maureen was in Hollywood from 1969 to 1971, and then shortly after leaving Hollywood, she ends up meeting Neil Prescott, Sidney Prescott's father. However, if they keep this cutscene dialogue for Roman in the actual film, as well as the said timeline of events for Maureen, Roman being 27 years old means he couldn't have been Maureen's son, because he would have been born in late 1972 or early 1973. In my opinion, it's because of this reason that dialogue was cut from the film, and it was the right choice for the story between Roman and Maureen to add up. Overall, I think Wes Craven made the right decision to cut and re-edit this dialogue about Roman being 27 in the final act of Scream 3, as if it was kept along with the timeline of events for Maureen in Hollywood, it would have messed up a good story, being there's no way Roman could be Maureen's son if she was already with Neil Prescott at the time he would have been born. However, if they could have found a way to keep the second half of that dialogue, the implication that Roman Bridger wasn't his real name, without adding the age bit, that would have been intriguing, because then not only will we not know Roman's real name, but it would seem that it was done on purpose, possibly to hide what Roman's father's last name is, and that would have only heightened that mystery that we all want to know, which I would have been okay with to possibly be revisited later on in the franchise. But okay, everyone, that is it for this video. Leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think about this assembly cut scene from Roman Bridger in Scream 3 in the final act. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Would you have liked to see them keep this in original dialogue in the actual film? Or do you think that they made the right decision to cut this and re-edit this for the reasons that I talked about here in the video? Once again, this is Asham6times YouTube Horror Movie Channel. I'm your host and creator of the channel, Marcus. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. Thank you all for watching.